Quick. We're in. Percy's ready. It's showing that animation. I should make that more elaborate. Pick it up for the next season. We'll make a few changes. There has to be a palpable growth. We have to decide when the second season starts. We need a finale,
when is the
cliffhanger.
Award ceremony for the first year.
Yeah, like that. A retrospective where we just sit in here and watch old clips. We are live. Welcome to Jawn. Good to see everybody. Producer, you can check in there and make sure we are actually connected to all the services streaming away. Looks like we're all systems go. Hey Twitch, hey Facebook, hello YouTube. Good to see everybody. I'm Nathan Moore. This is Kyle Hogg. This is Stephen Moore.
Hey.
And we're here for you.
Yep.
I can see all your chats from wherever you are on our Discord server, so feel free to chime in. If you have something you would like us to talk about or a comment on what we are talking about, I'll keep half an eye over here on the Discord server so I can see your chats. Welcome to the show. Gentlemen, good to see you again.
Good to be back.
Yeah, nice to be back.
We were just discussing coming into the show how we're going to structure our seasons and when the end of season one will be. Maybe when we go camping in June, we could.
I don't know if this matters, but it says 5:25 early in the morning afternoon news. But
Oh, right. I forgot to change the titles.
You can do it later. Will people
Yeah.
still find it?
I can fix it on YouTube and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll just think they're watching the early in the morning afternoon news because I forgot to change the titles. That's bad for them. It should say Jabberjawn episode 24. 24.
This will be on the bloopers reel we have going
That's
out.
right. Yeah, for our final show of the season, we have to either end on a cliffhanger of some sort,
Well,
or we could do
The way we're heading, we ought to be running for that Republican presidency.
Yeah.
That's the way it seems to be going. Yeah. You're
Get our,
gonna be
throw
one
our
of
hat in the ring.
Yeah, one of us ought to go, and we'll just have a little trouble. But we'll get Elon, somebody, or Levon.
Well, didn't Twitter, what is it, didn't that break down or something? When he was,
Apparently, it was a glitch fest.
oh, wow.
Had a
I know that
glitch
broke
with
Elon's heart.
with the whole boss there. That's just
You're right.
that's
right.
embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. Yeah.
I don't know that he can be embarrassed, but I think it should be embarrassed.
Yeah, I know he was all excited to debut his new platform. Twitter's trying to get into the video streaming business. They want to be the one app for everything. They want to put YouTube and Facebook, everybody out of business if they can. Good luck with that. Now it's become just part of the culture wars. It's the right wingers have declared it their space. Elon sort of seems like their champion. Nobody can really tell, but he's sort of their champion. So there's not a lot of left wing people that are trying to also be with them. So I'm sure he would welcome anybody that came his way, but it seems like Tucker Carlson, when he got fired from Fox, his first announcement was his new show would be on Twitter.
Oh,
Ron
wow.
DeSantis just made his campaign announcement on Twitter, so it was sort of possibly first come first serve, but everybody on the left just took a step back the moment Elon took it over, and so all the right wingers took a step forward. And I don't know if it's completely fair that Elon gets blamed for all that. I'm sure he would have loved if everybody stepped forward.
Right.
He probably appreciates the publicity.
He'll take whatever he can get, or he'll take what he gets. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't keep up with all that very much.
it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah,
I got you covered.
yeah, good. Good.
I represent the family.
Let me know how it might affect me personally
Exactly.
on my daily walk down Selma Boulevard.
Exactly.
If something's going to come out of the sky and hit me, let me know.
So you'll be happy to know I spent 2 days this week so far on the racquetball court.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
And what were you doing on the racquetball court?
Oh, just measure, and they hired me to paint it.
Sweeping.
I just swept it, just sweeping it for you. No, Catherine and I went out there and played good. We hit it around for a good half hour. Broke a little sweat.
Oh, that's
Wow.
great.
It-
I'm happy for that.
And then yesterday she was doing one of those group things, so I was just deciding what my routine was going to be, and I started on the racquetball court for a good 20, just hitting by myself, hitting around. Felt good though, I gotta say.
Well, I'll be darned.
I still got my swing a little bit, but yeah, my routine yesterday was racquetball for like 20 minutes, twice around the track. Went in, tried to figure out how some of the machines worked, and then swam a few laps.
Wow.
So yeah, we're getting back in the
There you
saddle.
go.
Very good. Very good. I'm happy for that.
Yeah, me too. I got my big doctor's appointment next week. So I'm trying to cure everything
Yeah, that-
before I get there. It's like,
You're in stunning shape. I can't believe
well,
it.
thank you.
All in a week. Can you believe it? Can I stop? Can
After
I stop
after
now?
not moving for 5 years, just sitting.
Well, I hope it goes well.
I know, that's great.
Me too.
We'll see how it all plays
It'll be
out.
the day before the next Jabberjawn, so I can give you a full report.
Going to be live on the air? Can the
Yeah,
doctor
why
come
not?
here and do it?
Yeah, maybe that'll be our cliffhanger.
Will he live?
Unfortunately, this is our season finale.
And the doctor, and your results are,
Dun, dun.
do you have to have blood work or anything done before you go in there? Or you
I
just
don't
show
know. A part of me, as much as I dread it, part of me is hoping he's thorough.
up? Right.
Well, I always think you should have your blood work before you go in there, so you have something to talk about. Because
See, I don't know anything about it. Blood work.
You can't just go. You have to have. Yeah, they have to tell you.
well, the doctor has to. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Is that me?
You're blowing
doing
up
that?
there.
I don't know what's going on. So leave me alone.
Breaking news.
After you announced you lived on Selma, everybody knows where you are now. They track you there. Where on Selma?
I'm going to turn myself off.
So last week, we had record-breaking views on YouTube.
Wow.
There was a slow, like the first couple of weeks, this is just on YouTube. A lot of people are on Facebook and Twitch and stuff, but just on YouTube, there was like 20-some views was the average for a couple of weeks. And you can see, it's nice. You can see it rising. Then we were up in the 30s. Then we started to dip into the 40s a little bit. Last week, over 100 views.
Wow.
YouTube. Ding, ding, ding.
You think that means I should go pee every week?
Maybe. Yeah, the slapstick works.
Probably ought to come up with something a little more original. But
Did he tell you what really happened?
no, don't do that.
Oh, okay.
You're ruining it.
Okay.
You ruin it.
It was perfect the way it was. Just leave it.
It was all,
Just let it be.
it was all special effects.
Yeah, I don't want everybody thinking I can pee that good. I'm in my drip phase of life these days. But there you go. We're not going there.
We just went there.
I don't want to talk about peeing.
Okay.
We do that every week. I always bring it around to it because it's one of my favorite subjects.
It's still funny
I do
after
more.
all these years.
So what? I mean, I know every week probably somebody will ask me like, they'll say, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to do my podcast." Podcast? What podcast? And then they'll watch it and say, "Oh, it was actually funny." I think people are having like this, and of course everybody asks me. Everybody just assumes. I don't watch many podcasts, but I guess they assume it's conspiracy theories. Cause
Oh, they
I
do?
call people like, what kind of stuff don't you believe in? I'm like, no, it's not conspiracy theory.
What kind of stuff don't you believe in?
I like
I like that. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, that would be a good theme for a show.
Yeah, but I had two friends last week. That was the first time they had watched. Right when I got home from the show, they were like, "I've been trying to call you." I was like, "I was doing the show." They're like, "How do I watch it?" We were texting, and I didn't hear from them for like an hour and a half, and they wrote back, "Oh, the show is actually good." I was like,
Actually good.
I thought you had gone to sleep or something. Just stopped texting me."
That's great.
Wow.
We should. I've researched it before, but it would be sort of. We could release a podcast version of the show. Just sort of export the audio and put it where people get their podcasts. It's a whole thing. It's not easy, but once I figure it out, it'd probably be good for all the shows that I do here. An audio only version for people driving road trips and stuff like that. It's good.
Well,
Yeah, well, your show, your daily show would be good.
Mm-hmm.
I think they wouldn't get to see your puppet, but
Right.
uh,
Yeah, some of the jokes wouldn't translate.
on the other hand, they wouldn't have to see your puppet.
Right. Highlight.
Well, yeah, you think I was thinking about my Facebook, where I don't put a lot, I put stuff like my poetry and stuff on it, as you all know, but I was wondering if I should get a Twitter account or how best to present that material, because I'm not, it doesn't seem like Facebook is the place for it. Facebook seems like I don't even have a dog or cat.
Right.
I'm not
right.
sure even if they knew that, they'd probably kick me off.
Right. Nobody wants to see pictures of your Vienna sausages again.
No.
Yeah.
no, is Twitter
Although they did
Artichokes.
get 12 looks.
is Twitter still like a certain amount of words or what? Doesn't Twitter have
I think
some?
it is. there's a limit.
Yeah, you might have to cut. You have to.
But I
condense
feel
your
like it's
poetry
bigger than
down.
it used to be.
I'm pretty terse with my words.
Mm-hmm.
What a wonderful word
It is
that
a great
is.
word.
Terse.
Terse.
You ever just
Brusque.
start a conversation just so you can use a word at some point?
All the time.
I'll do that all the time. Terse.
Anna Bloom, welcome to the show. Hey, Magpie. Magpie says, yes, do a podcast. Then I can listen via my podcast app without having to have video on and not waste my phone battery.
Wow.
Well, that's
All kinds of reasons to have
that's
a
a
podcast.
good. That's a really good reason.
If I may ask, Magpie, what is your podcast app? Is it you're talking about the iPhone podcast app? Yeah, I'll look into that. It's a little convoluted, but I feel like once you get over the hump, then it's just in place. Castbox.
Would it be
is what you
live?
use.
Would they be
No.
the podcast would be taped and then
The
later?
podcast would just be the archive, an audio only, the audio book version of Jabberjawn.
Originally aired March 25th.
Right.
May 25th.
Right.
Gotcha.
I was going to tell you a story. A friend of mine, he texted me from work and said, I need you to go to Storage Draft and pick something up for me. You have to be there between 8 and 10. And I was like, okay. So I go out to this barn out in the middle of Storage Draft. It's gonna make sense a little bit. So I go out to this barn in Storage Draft, and he's giving me his credit card. I have a picture of his credit card on my phone. And I go up there, and the lady's like, this is no good. We can't take it. And I'm like, wow, man. So
Just a picture of a credit card.
Well, yeah, she like typed in the numbers,
Oh, got you.
And she goes, it's not accepting it. So he called and gave her another number. I called and said they're not giving me they're not taking it. So it ran it through again, no good. And I said, well, how much is it? And it was a amount that I could pay. So they gave me a receipt and said, all right, you go over to that building and pick up the stuff. So I gave the woman the receipt. She's like, what are you picking up? I'm like, I don't know. You didn't tell me what I'm picking up. I have no idea what it is. She goes, you don't even know what you're getting? I'm like, no. So she's like, all right, let me see if I can figure out what this is for. So it was a bunch of baseball and football cards,
Oh, wow.
which I used to collect back in the day. And it's sort of, I saw them. I was like, like when you see something you haven't done for a
You
while.
used to collect what?
like football and baseball cards and stuff. But so when I saw them all and I was putting them in the car, I was like, oh my God. I started getting that itch again. Like, oh man, I wanted to. So I was telling him about it, and he was showing me some of the old baseball cards he has. And I was like, man. So I went to work and I was telling him about some of your cards. Like, out of nowhere, this sports card thing comes up. And he came to work yesterday. He told me the sweetest story.
So your friend is a collector now.
Yeah.
And you used to collect.
Right. But when he told me to go get the stuff, I didn't even know what it was.
Interesting.
So I'm like, oh man, I was like, why did I have to see all this stuff? And I saw some. I was like, can I buy this here? She's like, no, you have to bid for it online. But so I was telling.
Oh, it was an auction?
Yeah, like an auction
cool.
house out there. So I was telling him about it, and he was like, go around the house and open this box, and he had like these baseball cards.
Oh, yeah, he does.
And I was telling him about it. I was like, man, he had this card and this card. So the next day he came, and he had a baseball card in his hand. He said, this is a very special card to me. I'm going to give it to you. And he said when he was 13 years old, he went to Rocky's Antique Mall.
Oh, yeah.
And his mom would give him some money for baseball cards. And they were selling, it was 1991. And they were selling these packs for $8. And his mom was like, man, I'm not giving you $8 for a pack of baseball cards. He was like, please, Mom, just let me get this one pack, So he got it and he opened it and he got a Frank Thomas rookie card.
Wow.
And the guy at Rocky said, I'll give you $80 for it right now. You just opened it, it's mint condition.
Spot.
Yeah. And he said, let me talk to my mom. And he went and found his mom. His mom goes, no, it's your card. You can do whatever you want if you want to sell it. And he's like, Mom, it's just a rookie card. I don't know what I should do. And he used to get like Beckett's, the trading, the price guy and stuff. So he kept it, never sold it. So then as time's gone on, the price has gone down.
It's gone down?
Yeah.
Guy didn't turn out to be as good of a player as they thought he was.
But
Well,
so-
$80 is pretty. Yeah, that was a good price.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he
But
had
a
this,
lot of times they do go down.
but so that was the only time he'd ever seen this card. It was a Frank Thomas rookie card. And so when I went and got all those cards for him.
Was it Fleer, Tops? What are we talking
Oh,
here?
it was-
Fleer, is that right?
Yeah.
Fleer is
I can't remember what.
Fleer, Tops,
Yeah,
and
God, I
Donruss
should've-
were the
Donruss.
ones
I should
back
remember.
in the day.
But so when I got all those cards for him, and so it's in 1991, he'd got it. Never seen that card since then. So those ones I went and got him, he goes, this is the second one I've ever seen. And he had it in a little plastic case and gave it to me. So I just
Oh,
want to
that's
thank you
great.
for going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
That is
it was
very
weird
nice.
how sports and collecting and stuff just, I mean,
So he bought a lot. He didn't.
he bought like thousands of them. Like,
I mean, what you went and picked up, he didn't
yeah,
know what he was
he
getting.
said you
It was a
it's
mystery
it's
grab
just,
bag.
Yeah, just boxes, those card boxes. Just you don't know what you're getting. But he said that's only the second time I've ever seen this card. And I just told him about some of the cards you had, and so
Yeah, well, I've given most of my cards to my children. Here, I know you've gotten a few over the years.
You still have some in the closet there, right?
Oh, I have a lot of cards. And I have a lot of good players, like a Wade Boggs. I have a lot of his cards, but those, like you said, they haven't really increased that much. The really rare cards have gotten rarer, so they're worth more.
Right.
But cards in the middle just aren't that big a deal.
Everybody got hip in the 80s or whatever to collecting.
Well, it ruined it. The
Yeah.
80s and 90s, and I was.
Before that, it was such a rare personality that would collect these
Right.
that they were extremely rare. By the time 80s came around,
It was
seemed
all
like
about money.
Yeah.
And that just ruined it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you and your baseball card collection the other night. Now I feel like that's an aspect of your personality that I got a bit of, not with that
Yeah.
specifically, but
Yeah.
just thinking about how you would organize it, the search for them, the discovery, the find, and then the organization of it, the preservation of them, just on so many levels.
Yep.
Ticked a lot of boxes. It's such a really fun pastime.
Yeah, that was spent a lot of time doing that. And now there's a whole closet full of crap.
Right. You got some complete sets in there and everything.
Yeah, if anybody wants a complete 83 set, I think they're going for like $250 now.
For the whole set.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause-
but that includes a Wade Boggs rookie card and a Ryan Sandberg. But I didn't have any great
Right.
rookie cards that year, but it's a good set.
He was
Before we
tell-
get too far away from it, John Dotson is in the chat and is dying to know if your friend paid you back.
Oh, he did pay me back.
Okay.
Yes. Thank John Dodds. Thanks for looking out for me. I need someone like you in my life. Thank you. All those people I've spotted drinks at the bar. John Dotson's coming looking for you.
These are heavy.
Let me introduce my friend John Dodson.
Now, did you get into collecting baseball cards because you had some from your youth, and then?
I was not a collector. I was an avid. I wasn't collecting to be collecting baseball cards. They were alive, but I was that rookie card. I have a Henry Aaron rookie card. It's a beautiful card. It's a 1954. I was 7 years old, but I bought that card downtown. There was a little drugstore downtown that I would cross from where the Stanton, where the offices are. I can't think of the name of it. It wasn't Hogsheads, but they had a little section there, and I always would go in there and buy my baseball cards. And
No, so you bought that particular card, or you just bought like a pack?
no, I buy the pack.
Oh, okay.
And that's part of it,
Right.
is opening the
Right.
pack. And that's another thing that sells now is they'll sell. I have some of those, just packs,
Right.
unopened packs.
Right.
Because once again, the mystery's there, and you don't know what might be inside of
Right.
that.
Right.
So you could buy one for $3 and have a $50 card.
Right.
But all that was fun and everything, but then it got to be just a money thing.
Right.
And the Topps people were part of that problem. They created it because, of course, they were making money hand over foot because it became a collectible.
Right.
But there were people just using it to make money and not really appreciating either the cards or the game of baseball. So I kind of got tired of fooling with that.
I was telling him, like whenever you talk about something or look something up, all of a sudden your phone's just full of all that type of stuff, So we were talking about baseball or whatever, baseball cards, and like the next day I get this thing on my phone, something like I appreciate back when we didn't care what the price of what our cards were worth. And it was all these kids that are taking their cards and like drawing like they're smoking pipes and putting beards on
Right,
them,
right,
like,
for sure.
and stuff. Like that was the fun part, like getting a card darkening their eyes, vampire teeth. and
Well, there were
stuff.
two things that we did.
Vampire teeth.
Two things we did was to play with them. We had marble games where we'd lay them down and you'd hit the marble with a pencil, and if the marble rolled over the card, but just playing with them, the edges would get frayed, and so
Right.
they were worthless after, in terms of what we were talking about later. Then the other thing was the classic thing to put them in your bicycle spokes.
All right. Right. Sound like a motorcycle. That's good.
Well, that's something else me and the guy I was working with, like we used to buy, like, I don't know if you ever bought like the sleeves you can put them in, And like me and my brother would get like the most expensive ones. They were like almost like metal, like you couldn't even bend them. The cards would go in. Like these are safe, they'll last forever. Then my mom would like, I'm going to Target. You need anything? Yeah, can you get us some sleeves? You get those real cheap ones, that were like like a tissue. Like, why'd you buy the cheapest ones? These cards gonna be ruined now. Like you get so particular about it, Like you want your book, your binder to have the exact same, It's like it really is an obsession. It's crazy.
Here's a story. My next door neighbor Rick and I were, he was 1 year younger than me, so I took advantage of that every chance I got. But he brought home his football cards one day, and we were looking at them, and we were comparing them, and we knew all the stars and everything, and he was looking for a star. And he said, I didn't get anything in that pack, and so he'd hand them to me after he'd looked at them, and he didn't care about a guard or a tackle. But and then there was this one running back. His name was Elroy Hirsch. And I said, well, here's a running back. I don't think he's any good or anything, but I'll trade you this guy I've got here, this tight end. And so we made a deal, and I got up to walk away, and I looked back at him and I said, I can't wait to see Crazy Legs Hirsch play today. Everybody knew him as Crazy Legs Hirsch was a great running back for the 49ers.
Oh, wow.
And Rick had just not really seen that it was Crazy Legs. It was just Elroy Hirsch.
Oh, wow.
So we laughed about that for years. I just walked away.
Stole my crazy
I
legs.
took his Crazy
Took
Legs
advantage
away.
of his naivety.
We laughed. He laughed and he fake laughed.
Oh, we laughed and laughed.
He enjoyed
Go
that.
home now. Slam the door
Another-
behind you.
Another reason why he loved me so much. Good Lord.
I remember the excitement from when you got the first book that showed you the value of the cards, and you had all these old cards from the past, or whatever. And so, but it was you would let me do it, or ask me to do it, to go through and just look up each card and go down the column, and all of a sudden you
Put
see
the
this
little
like,
price on there.
whoa! Every now and again you get a humdinger. It's
Yeah,
addictive.
it was
It's like,
fun.
oh my God, this is worth like
Yeah.
$200. This card right here.
Right.
But they would do that near mint,
Right.
you know.
Right.
All of mine had frayed edges because I looked at them
Right.
and used them. I didn't put them in glass houses.
What's the most valuable card you have?
Probably that Henry Aaron.
Yeah, my
And the
friend.
reason is I took care of it. For some reason, it just looks very pristine. It's not mint, but it's close. It's very good or whatever.
Yeah, he was looking it up because I said it's not mint. You can tell it's been touched, but it's. I mean, it's beautiful shape.
Yeah, it's
He
in
was
good
seeing them on
shape.
there for like $3,000 or $4,000.
I don't remember.
I was like,
His? The
man,
one he
yeah,
has?
Yeah.
Well, there's another one, but I looked it up and it was like $3.50. So there's a fine line between
Right.
what's a collector will take,
Right.
Right.
and that's just garbage. I don't care about it.
He said it, I think he said it costs $18 to have them graded. Like you send them out, to some.
Right. Yeah, you
place
can
and they-
have them graded and
Yeah.
they'll put them back. I've never done anything like that
Right.
with them. But there are some good cards up there. It's worth some money, but I just, it'd be a good job to hire someone to do that for. They could make a percentage.
Do you still have much of your old collection?
No, but when I left home and moved to Richmond, I was like in desperate need of money, and I just took them all to same place, Rockies.
The old Rockies. Is
And-
Rockies still there?
And
Oh, yeah.
and he bought them
Bigger
all
than
for
ever.
some, Then like years later, when I started collecting again, I was almost in tears, like, oh my God,
You
I
didn't
sold
pull out
that
the
one.
best of the cream of the crop?
I
there?
was, I was footloose and fancy free, then just wanting to get out of town. So I just like, his baggage needs to go. But
Everything
then,
must go.
But then when you look back, you're like, oh God, like you'd see like the price book. This card's worth $300. Like I had that card, and he didn't even give me $300 for the whole box. Well, I don't know if you've heard of Discogs. It's the same type of thing, but it's for records. And so somebody told me about it, and I thought, well, I'll just look up all my records. You can like keep on your phone or your computer, all your albums and what they're worth. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so easy. Type in, Rod Stewart, whatever. But it's completely by, like some of these famous albums have been pressed, put out like hundreds of times. So it'll be like Rod Stewart, blue label, with the writing in red, printed in Spain, printed in New York, printed in New Mexico. And it's like 45 minutes later, like, I don't even care about this Rod Stewart album. You gotta like pick out the exact one you have. It's so frustrating. I was like, oh my God, I can't even take it anymore.
I love how in all those collections, the misprint is always
yeah.
so valuable,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. Oh, this label got printed backwards.
Yeah.
That's worth $3,000.
Well, that's
because they messed up. Actually, it's just not because it just makes it rare.
Right.
So rare is just worth something.
Yeah, I think that's you and I and Kyle fit into that.
Yeah, that's why we're so valuable.
I think so.
Rare birds.
We're a misprint. Thank God.
We're a misprint.
But
I like
that's
it.
the thing about collecting cards too. At that one point, when me and my brother were collecting, the card company would realize there was misprints. They'd send out like these, mailers, Also,
Please send it back.
no, it would be like, if you have the refrigerator Perry card, it was actually refrigerator was spelled wrong on this one. Like stuff you'd never even notice. So me and my brothers go buy more packs. We have to find the one with the misprint, It's like, it's just a way to, I think sometimes they do it just to get you to keep buying
Could
more
be.
and more cards.
I don't.
Mm.
Yeah. As soon as the money comes in, I
Yeah.
kind of tend to leave. I don't like it for the money.
Right. Yeah.
I've never sold a card to anybody. I've given them away, but I've never sold to a company or anything.
Even at the height of when you were
No,
really I
I always thought it's nice to know how much they're worth, but I never really looked at it that way.
Did you ever go to a
Of course,
baseball
I've never
card?
needed the money that bad either.
Right. Did you ever go to like a baseball card convention or anything at
Oh,
the
I went-
apex of?
They had I used to take the kids. They'd have one at the mall or something. They have it's not a, just a sell, just like they're selling hot tubs this weekend at Expo.
Right.
They would be selling baseball cards. And you'd go and there'd be all kinds of wheelers and dealers, but I'm not that guy. I was never that guy.
Right.
And we used to go when we lived in Richmond. We'd go. They'd have like the grab bag, it'd be like a sandwich bag stapled $5.
Right.
Like you don't know what you're gonna get. You're like, man, this guy's probably ripping me off. But just the unknown, it's like you can't really stand it. Just there's $5. Rip it open just full of trash.
Well, I've
like,
got
oh.
so many common cards
Yeah.
up there. I mean, thousands. But you know what baseball cards are good for? They're really good for bookmarks.
Oh, they are. That's
They're
true.
wonderful bookmarks. And so what I was going to do was just a package, like if grew up in Baltimore you're an Oriole fan, I'd just give you 20 Orioles. Doesn't matter, not of commons.
Right.
But all the ones you remember playing, but not stars, because I want you to use them. I want you to use them for baseball cards.
Right.
I used to do that.
Use for 'em.
I used to do that at work when I was in New Jersey because I was trying to thin out my cards, and I know somebody was a Dallas fan. I just go through and get all the Dallas cards and wrap them up. They're like, "Thank you. What am I going to do with this?"
Bookmarks. That's the move.
Yeah, I used to have the lady at the library, but every year or so she'd say, "Oh, there you are," and she'd go back and bring me out about 8 cards that I had left in books when I turned them in.
There you are.
She knew me well enough to put them
great.
away for me.
Here's that Henry Aaron card you keep leaving
Yeah.
in there. With the big plastic cover on it. It's really destroying the books. You need to find a cheaper card.
I was a collector at a very young age. I remember I had a bottle cap collection.
Oh, wow.
I had a matchbook collection.
Wow.
My young mind was just so fascinated. To get a new matchbook, I was just
God,
so
when you were
excited.
torn, you could have probably collected all kinds of matchbooks.
I could have. And I had a cans. Oh, it still breaks my heart that when I went to college, Mom and Dave were getting rid of stuff and all these things. The empty nesters there were just getting ready. All right, he's gone. Now we can make everything the way we want it to be. But boy, that I had a really cool collection of cans and bottles, all unopened.
Oh, wow.
Like Billy beer,
Really?
like Jimmy Carter's
Oh my
brothers
God.
beer,
Yeah,
Billy
that's-
beer. I mean, and back then they would come out with like college editions of soft drinks and stuff. Had like a Tar Heels Coca-Cola or something like it. It was.
I've got that
I
one.
had a lot. You do?
Yeah. Unopened, too, 'cause that was my team.
Unopened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
I have that sitting on a shelf.
collecting is so fun. What other things have y'all collected?
Heartaches by the number. Came right into my head. Failed relationships.
He keeps it.
Is that
I got that. Nobody will take them either.
rough around the edges?
Yeah, they've been
That
used.
thing's been
They've
handled.
been worn. Ain't no near mint in me, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
and they've got no resale value. I don't
No,
know.
no, you can't get anything for them. You could write a novel, but that takes a lot of work and time. I'm not going to do that.
Granddad is part of where I got some of that from, I think. Like his pocket knives collection.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think that was my first introduction to, and he had his favorite ones displayed in that frame.
Did you get it?
I ended up with
I thought you did.
with the pocket knives collection.
That must have been a popular thing back in the day. I mean, my dad had. He didn't have like a big collection. He would just every once in a while, like, I got a new pocket knife. Like, think I care? He's so happy.
It's so fun to collect something because it
Yeah.
adds that element to everything else you do.
Right.
Then. If you're traveling, like you're in Utah or something, part of your mind's just got an eye out
Yeah.
for a good pocket
Yeah.
knife.
Yeah.
It just adds a little extra flair
Yeah.
to everything you do.
We used to go on vacation, and he'd always want to stop at like some just crappy looking, outlet, no, not outlet, but like a hunting store or something, whatever they call those stores. The Al's big fishing, we'd go in there and he'd come out all happy with a pocket knife. Never
he
seen
collected
this.
them too?
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
That was your dad?
yeah.
Mhm. What else have you collected? Anything else?
There's a lot of like publishing, like there's a couple of book publishers, New Directions, Grove. That I try to collect all that stuff, and then I waste so much money though because they're always it'll be like New Directions is the code number is like NDP 35 or 36 whatever. And I've looked at them so much, it'll be like, oh, the code's up at the top now instead of the bottom, so I'll buy it. And I'm like, now I have like 5 copies of this book. I mean, they're not like really, they're not value. I mean, they're not high value stuff, but But that was a funny story. I didn't even know my wife even paid attention to the books I bought. And New Direction books are always black and white. There's
New
no
Direction books.
Yeah,
They still exist?
I think they probably do. I don't know if they're still publishing, but I think they're still around. But putting out reprints and stuff.
What's the genre?
Like sort of what would you call them? They did like a lot of existential stuff and beat poetry and just more like intellectual type. There wasn't just like stupid little novels and stuff. I love stupid novels, but it was more like they sort of like a brainy type thing. But they were all black and white, all covers, spines are all black, the covers are all black, are black and white. So one time I was doing a reading challenge, and you had to get a book that a bookseller recommended, like a bookstore. So I went down to Black Swan, and I don't know if y'all know who Pete is that used to work down there. And I'd never met the guy before. I was still living in New Jersey. I said, do you recommend any books? And he gave me this one. It was a Henry Miller book. And I was like, oh, I haven't read this one. And I looked at it. It was a red. And I looked at it, and it said New Directions on the side. And I was like thinking to myself, man, I've never even seen a red New Directions book. And my wife's standing there like totally bored. She goes, red? I didn't know they made red ones. And I never loved it more. I was like, you actually noticed that the books are all black and white, and this one's red. Hey! So I bought it. So now when you look, and I have them all on the shelf together. When you look, it's like black, 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 one little red spine, and it's like, so.
New Directions.
New Directions. Cool.
Speaking of New Directions, I think we need to do a bird.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't do a bird last
you
week.
didn't let me do a
Yeah,
bird.
tension and release.
His bird collection over there.
Let me see.
I guess bird watching is sort of a version
Yeah,
of collecting.
collecting, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And he kills them.
That's a cool version of collecting because it's not physical, but it's still. When you see a new bird, you add it to your collection. Speak of the devil,
Well,
Preston Hanna bookmarked the today's bird here. We'll start off with him. From a picture for the Braves. God, they just feel the cards are great. I just love them.
we should try to raise some money by we'll all 3 sign a baseball card and you can buy it. We'll sell it, send it to you.
For those that don't really know, they always have they feel great in the hand.
Yeah.
It always has the stats on the back, a lot of information in there. And they all came with a little piece of chewing gum that I can taste in my mouth right now when I think about it. It had a little bit of powder on it so it wouldn't
that
stick
powder,
to the
that's
cards.
right.
And it'd start off really
I
sort
don't
of
think
crunchy.
they put them in the container in the packaging until they'd been sitting on a shelf for 5 years.
Right, yeah, these aren't ready yet.
If you didn't go right, it would cut your mouth. So
Yeah, they started out crunchy, but then they would become gum.
Me and my brother used to they used to must make 90 miles of that strip of little tape length. They just cut it and throw that gum and then dust it up and throw it in those cars.
I wonder what came first. It was because they originally were called bubblegum cards.
Right.
That's the way they were referred
yeah,
to.
that's how they sold them.
But the gum wasn't necessarily an afterthought. The gum might have been first, and they added cards
Oh,
to
they
the
definitely
gum.
went together.
Can
But
you
you
imagine
got 'em
now?
See, you got the baseball cards in the candy section.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
That's-
They were in the
they
candy
say that-
aisle.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
Wait.
wasn't a.
I'm having so many memories. They also, I mean, back when I was a kid, it wasn't just sports cards. Star Wars
Oh,
would
yeah.
come out, and they would have Star Wars cards. And
Yeah.
oh man, it was so fun. Talk about collecting. It's like, oh my God, you have a Yoda? I haven't even seen that one yet. I got two Boba Fett's. I'll trade you my Boba.
You can collect now like blues singers. Like R. Crumb, the artist, has done like blues singers
Oh, that
cards
would be a
and like
great
mass
collection.
murderers. Like they'll have like serial killer. I've got 2 editions of serial killers. It was so popular.
But
they had
those
to
you
do-
have to buy as. How do you get? Where do you get those?
You have to know somebody and give them some money
Right.
under the counter. Here you go.
I can hook you up.
No, there was a card store in Richmond that they had all that. My brother went there and we were buying cards one time when I came out. I said, "What'd you get?" And he's like, "I don't even want to tell you what I got." I was like, "What is it?" And he was like, "No, I'm sort of embarrassed. I bought it." I was like, "What is it?" He goes, I bought a whole set of Hustler cards."
Oh my goodness!
I was like, "Where'd you get those from?" He goes, "I saw them under the glass there." And I asked the guy about it. I was like, "Oh man, what are you gonna do with those?" He goes, "Take them home and hide them."
Hustler cards. I didn't know. I'd never
every
knew
once in a
that.
while, I'll say, "You still get those Hustler cards?" Just like he's all
Somewhere.
there. I remember the Iraq War. What was that war called? What was that war called?
Desert Storm.
Yeah, Desert Storm cards. They
Right,
had-
that's
yeah.
right.
All right,
I'm
enough.
sorry, we're still got back to the cards.
Enough of our
just holding it
childhood
in my
memories.
hand. It's like, oh, it's a whole thing.
Feeling the dust from the
Well,
gum.
the subject is the wren.
The wren.
The wren.
Now, Carolina wren is the first thing that comes to my mind.
There are 3 wrens that come to my mind
Okay.
that we have around here. The more common one is the one you just mentioned. By far, the most people, when they see a wren, and you can see that white stripe on the sides, when you look at him up close, that's the Carolina wren. And he's the one that you have most of your stories about. They're a fascinating bird.
Why was he called the Carolina wren? Is that? have an
I don't know.
origin
It's a
story?
state bird of South Carolina. I did read that. I don't know if any other. I don't think anybody else. But so I think it's South Carolina. They do like the southern states, but they've been moving a little bit more and then to the northeast. But a tough winter's hard on them, so they tend to move back down. They are more insects than seeds. They have a real thin little beak, so they're more into what they like to do is they'll get into a spider's nest. They like to get into nooks and crannies. They'll get into your shed. If you left that door open for a day, you'd probably have one running around in here. I've had them on the porch a number of times and in the house. And the first thing you notice is that every other bird, when he gets in your house, tries to escape. They flutter and try to get away. The Carolina wren just says, "Oh, well, here's some new territory," and they start looking around.
Changing the TV channel.
Yeah, they just go check it out, and they'll stay there all morning, just going around
Wow.
checking there. So they don't get all excited if they feel claustrophobia or they don't feel it. So they have this curiosity. They don't mind being around people. They do like to be in the brush more than out in the open. They hunt for bugs and things in the brush. So, but every once in a while they'll just jump up on a pine tree and start singing, and they just sing their hearts out. The Carolina wren has this really great. They have about 30 different songs, of full-throated.
Oh, wow.
They sing. I mean, they're real little, but they sing like a really big bird. It's amazing. So they're wonderful singers.
I'll show the show so you get a visual image.
Yeah, that's a good one. Of
So what color are they?
they're. I thought I turned that off.
It's the wren colony. The house is all right. Don't worry, Steve. I'm here at the house. Everything's fine. Where did you leave the coffee? Did the lady hide it again?
There you go.
So what color are they?
They're brown, just a normal dull brown. Show him.
Oh yeah, that's very distinct. The white.
They have a short stubby tail that they flip up and down. That the tail flip is a
Known for
giveaway.
the rich, loud songs.
Very loud songs. They have a light colored breast. Males and females pretty much the same. I think the male's stripe might be more identifiable, but not a big difference there. They do nest around here, and you have the story, but everybody that has a lot of people that are familiar with the wren have stories of weird places that they built the nest.
Oh yeah, that was so crazy.
My fishing boots one time, out on the back porch, and they'll get into a shed and build something in a
You're bringing
boot.
back several memories now. There's
Yeah.
always that thing now we can't move.
Right, you have to stay away from there.
Like, oh,
Wren's nesting over there. I couldn't go fishing for a week.
yeah, you have to give everybody a heads up. Don't touch the fishing box because there's a wren nest in there.
Right. Yeah, I think remember your cousin Eric had one built in his lamp by his window one day. His window was open, and it started building in his
Oh,
lamp
wow.
right beside his bed.
What?
Yeah, so he let it build. So they're a wonderful bird. They just have a certain energy about them that just, in fact, I was making this up a little while ago on the way somewhere. But they have this AI thing now that they figured out. They got the algorithm. And this is a conspiracy theory, but I'm saying it's not, but it's really happening. They have figured out what birds are singing. When they sing, they've converted it into the English language. And it's just fascinating, some of the stuff that they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the wren is just basically ebullient. And he's saying,
Ebullient.
it's another word.
That's a great
It's
word.
Another word that I
Hold
wanted
the
to
phone
use.
here. What's this word?
Gosh, you've been.
Ebulent.
Two L's.
Two L's.
A and
A&T.
T.
You've been studying more than birds this week, obviously. I've been studying the dictionary. Right?
I read a lot of words. I don't read books or novels, I just read words. I'm fascinated with words.
So something else he collects is words. I guess.
collect words
Oh, there you
That's
go.
right.
and records. But what the AI thing says is that they just says, I am a wren, and the world is mine.
That's a good thing to say.
It's just like you would like to be what I am, but you're not. It's kind of bragging.
You wish
but,
you were a wren.
But I'm a wren and you're not. Kind of like Chevy
Wow.
Chase. But there you go. Whereas a crow, they interpret what the crow is. And when a crow calls, if you hear a crow call, you know what it's saying? Human beings, let me see, how did they say it? Human beings are like feces. That was the way that the AI
Direct
did it.
translation.
Yeah. Human beings are full of feces. So that's what the crow is saying, which is different than what the wren is saying.
We were so excited at the advent of this new technology,
Hey, gosh.
and then came just the soul-crushing truth of the matter.
But the beauty of how educated the crow is to use the word feces instead of just saying we're full of shit. There's
You wouldn't expect that they would have that kind of class about it.
You find crows on college campuses all the time.
medical education almost.
So there's three different wrens that I grew up with. The house wren is the one I knew when I was younger, and they do build. You have different size holes for the different birds, but the house wren needs a real little hole because a starling or English sparrow can't get in there, but the house wren can't. Unfortunately, I have house wren house that's never been used. I don't think the house wrens can get in there either. So it's only used by wasps and other bees can get in there. But I used to have house wrens in my backyard in Hillcrest, and their singing is different than they just cut loose with note after note after note, just it's just beautiful, just crazy stuff. So I don't know what the heck they're saying. AI hadn't figured all that out, but they're beautiful. They sing too, and but they're smaller. They don't have that white stripe, and so you might have house wrens. And then occasionally in my life I've seen a winter wren, which is a northern wren that comes down here sometimes in the winter when it gets too cold up there, snows in. They'll come down here and work.
It's actually called a winter wren?
It is a winter wren. It's a much smaller version of that. I don't know that there's one in here. No. But those are but there are different wrens there's a marsh wren, there's a Bewick's wren in the southwest. So, every area has a different wren population. But the wren is a wonderful species of bird. And most people have good memories of wrens in their life. They may not know it, but they do.
Right.
The song and they're a very cheerful bird.
Now, the birds tend to be more vocal at like in the morning or night or any time of the day, or?
Well, it depends on the bird and what the time of the season too, because more seasonally, when they are first establishing a territory,
Right.
they sing to establish territory and to attract a mate.
Okay.
Those are the main. And plus, now the wren, he just sings because he's got a good voice and he
Right.
wants you to know it.
Crooner.
But he is just letting go for fun. But he also is doing those other two things too.
Okay.
But, so that once they get into nesting and looking around
Right.
for food and everything, they don't sing as much. But still, at the end of the evening, they might get up on the top of the tree and cut one loose
Right.
just to let everybody know they had a good day. And everybody's all right.
John Dodson says, we have a wren right now that made a nest in a small empty planter that was sitting upright. It fell over in the wind and now sits horizontally. She's still sitting on the eggs, though.
Oh,
Whoa.
Classic.
yeah, they're very persistent, good parents. I was thinking about this the other day. We were talking about how they have 2 to 4 broods. I think the wrens say they have 1 or 2 broods a year. And I was thinking, why in the world do you need to have 2 to 4 broods a year, or that many babies? Then I realized, wait a minute, this is the real world out there. Those broods aren't making it. Because I was watching a crow working through the trees last night.
Oh, wow.
A crow finds a nest of baby birds. That's dinner for his babies.
Wow.
And he's going to kill every one of them. So it's not like they try to raise 4 broods, but
Right.
if they are successful in 1 or 2, they
wow.
probably are making a profit. So I hadn't really thought about it that way before. But
What's the lifespan of a wren?
I didn't read that anywhere. Smaller birds probably not as long, but I would probably say 4 or 5 years. But any other questions? I don't know. The wren's just a lifelong companion for human beings because they're another bird that if you were out in the woods, they would be in the woods, in the shrubs, in the leaves, and you wouldn't see very much of them. But they are one of those species that likes being around houses and people, and I think they're curious about the kind of stuff, and they just want to go in the shed and see if they can find a nesting place.
Right.
And the other thing they look for in there is insects, because they're good at finding the spider web and picking the bugs and stuff out of that, and eating the spiders if they get in the way.
Now, what was that bird that was on your window on the screen when I was over there? Was that a wren? Remember you said it was eating the spider web?
Yeah, that was that Carolina wren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating the spider web?
Yeah, like he's always talking about birds, and I'm like, oh, that's fascinating. And then we're just sitting there, and he goes, look behind you. I look, and there's like a bird just sitting there right beside me on the screen. I'm like, you think it's some kind of magic with birds? And the bird wasn't even flying away. We're just looking at it. I was like, what's it doing? Like, why is it like looking in here at us? He goes, it's just eating this stuff in the spider web. And I was like, man,
Well, I
you've
told
got
the story on Facebook, but it was great because Kyle came up and helped me get that bird app that plays the songs.
Right, you got the app.
And I heard him out there singing. It was Monday night. And I put that app up and it immediately said, I thought it was, but I wasn't positive because I hadn't seen him. He was hiding in the bush. And then about not 2 minutes later, he came by the feeder and it was a Carolina wren.
It's a pretty amazing app. And
I love that app.
it's called Merlin, I believe is the name of the app. And it
Yeah.
seems to work remarkably well.
It's pretty cool.
Cornell Labs, sound. You hit Sound ID, and right now it's listening. Cuckoo, ooh, ooh,
I was just surprised because the first time we used it, I went outside and it identified 4 birds. Like it could break down and separate.
Right.
You know, it was like I forget what they were, but it was 4 different birds out there talking at the same time.
Now, I'm not sure that I'm not sure they're always right, though.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I mean, I think when it lists those 4 birds, it's saying these might be.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay.
I don't think it's
We
saying.
were sitting out back yesterday, and what was the one that came up that we were like, I don't think that's right. It was a goldfinch, maybe.
Yeah, because a lot of birds, first of all, sound alike, and but I think they're just giving you options, and then maybe you can pin it down from there, because that's what the Carolina River was number 1, and it listed 2 or 3
Oh,
others
okay,
after that.
okay.
But I don't think it's saying all of those are definitely there,
Right.
so we'll see. So if that's all we got, that's our birds for the day.
The funniest thing.
Good bird.
The funniest
What's
thing.
that? Squanjo in the house. Hey, brother. We have some wren ornaments. Thought it was just us. Oh, wait. John Dodson says, isn't the wren a Christmas symbol, too? And then Squanjo chimed in,
Wow.
we have some wren ornaments. Thought it was just us.
That must be the winter wren.
The winter wren. There
wonderful
is a
winter
winter wren
wren.
specifically.
I don't know that. I'd never heard that about a Christmas ornament.
Are the ornaments you're talking about, Joe, are those the ones Nana made?
No,
Didn't she sewed?
not.
Or
She wouldn't sew a
It
wren.
wouldn't be a wren.
I know.
There's one thing I know: she wouldn't sew a wren. I'll bet my Hank Aaron
What do you
card
think
on
they
it.
were? Doves?
Well, I don't. They were doves. They were. It was the same shape every time. It was, it had the wings, and it was a dove or a pigeon or whatever you want to call
Has
it.
the AI broken down what the dove says?
Yes. They say, "Coo, coo, coo."
Just questioning
oh,
all the
Yeah,
time.
it's yeah. See, doves don't know much. Doves are dumb.
Mm.
That was one of the things that they came up with that they realized that they didn't know.
How did
Because you don't know people are dumb until they try to say something.
Until you translate what they're actually saying.
No, how did the dove become like a symbol of peace? Just because they're pretty and white,
Well, it
sort
goes
of big.
back all the way to the Ark,
Oh wow!
but I wasn't there and I don't have that story. But they released a dove to fly away and tell them they were all right.
Oh my gosh, you're a fountain of knowledge.
Wasn't
Or the dove came to them.
with a branch or something?
Yeah, an olive branch.
And that meant that
God,
there
you're
was
so-
land
I-
out there
yeah.
again.
Yeah, that they were going to land, and so they landed on Mount Arafat.
It also
and-
sort of
and-
implies that there were parts that weren't completely submerged, or the dove was just in the top of a tree, or
Yeah, the dove was flying for how many millennia?
right, for the whole time.
Well, there were things floating.
Right.
Some things could get on.
Gosh. So is it worse luck to kill a mockingbird or to kill a dove?
I'd say to kill a
I think it's
dove.
worse to kill a wren.
Mhm. Truth be told.
Doves, now, I've killed a dove because they have a dove season. And you can
Oh, you
shoot
can
'em.
hunt doves?
Oh, right.
You can hunt mourning doves.
So how
Eat
big is a
'em.
dove? I imagine it being
Well,
sort of big.
they're
bigger
big enough.
bird.
They have a bigger breast. You only eat the breast of a dove, and I don't know that we ever ate them much. But I never hunted them much. People that hunt them usually had big farms, and they'd scare them from one field to the other when they're eating the grain, and they'd fly. And it's a whole different thing. I didn't.
That's a symbol of peace. Kill it!
Pow, pow.
Now, they aren't the white ones, though.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, there's different colored dove?
of course.
I thought they were all on the wings of a snow white dove.
No. Furlin Husky. On the wings of
No.
Can you do that?
I don't know that one.
Dove. You don't know on the wings of a snow
I
white
can
dove?
hear it in my head, but
There goes
I didn't
my
know that name when
one
he said it.
true love.
Well, you got some homework to do tonight.
Keep it going.
I thought, oh, God, what? I used to listen to that song.
That's an old country song,
Yeah, oh my God, that's a great song.
I
We
guess.
stumbled on, just randomly on YouTube the other night. Send in the clown.
Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Who was that?
Stephen Sondheim wrote it.
Ah, do you know who
One
made
of
it?
those beautiful songs.
That's a
Popular.
heartbreaker.
Oh, who was she? It was a little.
Oh, it was a woman?
God, yeah, everybody's
well,
done that.
there's a couple of different versions.
This
Gar-
is a
Gar-
dude in
Judy
the 70s
Garland-
I've never heard of.
What's
Ju-
Judy
Judy
Garland
Garland?
did a real good version of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or what's her mom's
I'm
name?
starting to doubt what we
Yeah.
So this wasn't the original that we heard, maybe.
Send in the clowns.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's a
remember who did the
heartbreak.
hit, but somebody had it later. Probably the one you heard was later on.
I'd never heard of this guy, and it was 73, and I was like, I'm surprised I don't recognize this name at all. But maybe he was.
I'm not sure about Stephen Sondheim. Somebody check me out on that, but that name just.
Judy
popped up.
Collins, Magpie says. J.
Yeah.
Dodd says Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For which song, though? They might be on a delay over there.
It's the one you mentioned.
Send in the clowns.
Yeah.
We got to the end of it. Catherine looks at me and was like, "What? Where were the clowns? Like, what? Why weren't the clowns there? Like, we were multitasking and missed something, but we didn't feel like listening to the
There
whole
ought to
song
be
again.
clowns.
But we had a lot of questions. Like,
And then a sad
what's
song.
going
like
on in that song?
I think they're trying to cheer you up at the end. Like your heart's been broken. You know, just send in the clowns. That's,
Right, gotcha.
You know,
Oh, it's a very sad song.
yeah, very sad. Man, see that's something that I never even actually lived through. I was at the tail end when people used to be able to get their heart broken and go into a bar and plug a couple of quarters in and pick their favorite sad songs and sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I went, it was all like punk rock stuff or something. People just wanted to be hip. Nobody was sitting there drowning their sorrow and like.
Hey, put a quarter in the jukebox.
Furlin Husky, all right, buddy.
Tear in my beer because I'm crying for you
This is
here.
my last dollar.
I'll tell you what I remember, what I'm thinking about when you said that. This is a great song, but Marinos, going to the Marinos jukebox
They
and
used to have a great jukebox.
putting your quarter in, and the song that was that I played when I was in that situation you just described was Keith Whitley. And this is just between an old memory and me.
Oh, wow.
What a great song. God, I got to hear that.
This was like a great
I haven't
song.
heard that in a long time. Yeah.
Jukebox
Wow.
is such a great phenomenon because you really got to just come in and decide the mood of the whole dang place. You know, everybody see you going up there. I wonder what this one. And you could just basically declare your intentions to
Yeah.
the entire establishment. Like if you put on that song, like, oh, he's going through it. You know,
Oh,
Or
yeah,
you pick a
yeah.
dance number, like, oh, somebody's
Right.
come to party.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you basically
I
get
know.
to define the vibe.
That'd have been so cool to be at a bar like in the 60s or 70s and some woman comes in, you have a couple of drinks, and like you put a dance song on or something.
Right. It's a way to announce yourself, what you're
that'd
looking
be-
for, what your intentions of the night are. Is what a cool
Right.
phenomenon.
I just remember when I was young, the only place we couldn't get into bars, we'd go to Pizza Hut, and they had a jukebox there. Me and my brother were like, give me all the quarters you got. My mom and dad are like trying to dig out all the quarters, loading it up with Kiss and all this stupid stuff. You know?
As a kid, it's so amazing to watch because the old ones, there were records in there,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
little robotic arm would
Yeah.
come out
Oh,
and
yeah.
grab the one you picked and bring it over and put it on the right side, and the needle would drop on it, and the party
That's
started.
one thing I never had that I always wanted was have a jukebox in my basement.
You should. I can't believe we never made that happen for
Yeah.
you. I mean, it's
I always wanted to have that.
Christmas is right around the corner.
Yeah.
That would be I am struggling to figure out how to store your 45s, because we don't have enough space around our record player, and they're a hard thing to. I've spent many minutes in my brain trying to imagine the best way to organize a collection of 45s.
It really is hard.
What kind of device it would be. It's to have access to them and everything, but a jukebox is a great way to store some of your favorites or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember, was it A3 or A14 or whatever? Keith Whitley, do you remember the
No,
the number?
I only played it that once there. It was a special occasion.
And the selections that were on the jukebox in any given establishment really sort of defined the establishment as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jukeboxes were a really cool thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they have a great jukebox. Or
We-
whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had a lot of Johnny Cash on ours.
Mm-hmm.
No, back in the day, did most of the bars downtown have a jukebox in them?
No.
Did they have music piped in or playing on the radio or something?
No. I guess they might have, but
They just had a couple of Wren flying around singing to you the whole time.
Player pianos.
they didn't have Wren. They
Damn
weren't
Wren
that-
shit in my beer again. I don't know what he's so
I
happy
don't have
about.
too much memory of jukeboxes other than Marina.
Right. Dice's probably had a jukebox.
Dice's, I'm sure, had one. It was more of a country thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
I guess early rock and roll.
Right. Like Richmond used to still have some of the old, and New Jersey did too, some of the old places where each table had a little jukebox.
Oh,
And
I
you-
remember that.
And you could go in,
Oh,
like,
where
play
do
play
I
your
have a
own
memory of that
songs.
from?
Yeah.
Every table had it,
Yeah.
and it was all connected.
what-
You put a quarter in.
Right.
It's like a dairy right.
Yeah.
Right, it
Yeah,
was like
They,
that.
they
Yeah,
had a,
exactly
they had a
like
thing
that,
like
yeah.
that.
Oh, Dairy Right had it, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you'd flip through the little things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess they'd have somebody come in and update it from time to time.
Like every 15 years by going by the
Yeah, I
selections.
always
that
wanted
were
to
on
load
there.
them up with my stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that'd be cool if you had like a real like a party basement, have a jukebox over in the corner. That'd be so cool. Like have your friends over and drink some beers or whatever and pop in.
Am I remembering this song wrong? Jukebox Hero? She was Jukebox Hero.
Yeah.
What was that song
Stars
about?
in her eyes.
How
or
is she a
something.
hero? How are you a hero in the jukebox?
I don't
What does that mean? Like, just knows exactly the song to pick at the right time.
Yeah,
Just
well,
like,
God.
oh, there she goes. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. You can feel it. Yeah, I like it when you're in places that were packed back in the day with a good jukebox. You're waiting for your cut to come up. Oh, wait, is this gonna be?
Right,
Nope, that's
yeah.
I didn't play that one. I didn't play that one. Oh, here it is. Here's mine. Here's mine.
But it's also like
The whole thing.
like when I was young, like in early 20s in Richmond, you'd go out with some buddies and you'd be like, I know this a-hole's going to go over to the jukebox. You knew exactly what song they were going to play. Like, God, I don't want to hear this song again. That was just their song, you know. Like, you'd be like, oh. And then he'd like, just like you said, he's like, oh, here it is. Like, yeah, we know. You play this song every time we come in here.
Back then, it's cool too. Like before the internet, like there might be some songs that you love that song, and the only chance you had to
that's
hear
where you
it
can find
is the
it.
jukebox
Yeah.
at Marino's. That's the only place you can hear
Yeah.
that song. You didn't
Yeah.
have the record. Your friends didn't have the record.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get a burger and hear my song. That's my jam. How do you get a hold of that? Waiting for it to come on the radio so you can record it on a cassette tape.
God, there was a song we used to listen to. I used because we would like every time we'd go to this restaurant and we would be like, we would just say like, J14, like, yep. As soon as we get in there, it was the one where it was right at your table. You get in there and just put the quarter in. Like you said, you didn't know if it was gonna be 3 hours from then or like the
Right.
very
How
next
many
song.
people are ahead of you? Right.
I guess another cup of coffee while we wait for my song to play.
Right. You've had dinner. You've had dessert. It's like, I don't know. I still haven't heard my jam.
You want me to go get you a pack of cigarettes, sir? Yeah, it'd be great. I gotta wait for my song to come on. You got a pill in the back. Oh, there it is.
I got to read the lyrics to Jukebox Hero. Stat, I'm dying
I
to
don't know that song at all.
You don't know it?
No.
It's not.
Pat
easy.
Benatar? Wait, who are we talking
That
about
was
here?
like one of those big power ballad bands.
Here, I'm going to ask Percy in Discord.
Jukebox, was like not Journey, but one of those type of bands.
Who wrote and what are the lyrics to Jukebox Hero? I guess who wrote it was a bad question because oftentimes it's not who the performer. It'll be
Vernon
some.
Husky wrote it back in 1933. Oh, that was like one of those bands, Power Ranger, Night Ranger, one of those type bands.
What's your guess? If Percy can find the lyrics of this song, how is somebody a jukebox hero?
They're famous enough to have songs on the jukebox.
Oh, that's a good guess.
That's a good guess.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound right either.
It didn't find it?
Still looking. It'll come back and say if he can't find it. It's chat GPT though, so it'll probably just make something up if it can't find it. It's
Use that AI app I made for the birds.
I mean, they're not even really singing. It's like Jukebox Hero.
right. Stars.
This is in her eyes or something like that. Yeah.
Boy.
Maybe all the songs on the jukebox reminded him of the girl that he's in love with. So she's the jukebox hero. Like every song on there reminds him of her. That's
a little
stupid.
esoteric.
God, he slapped that one down. Get my jacket. I'll be leaving.
I mean, yes, and
See y'all later. I'm gonna go pee in the back now. See you later.
Your turn.
Kyle, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
hey, will you
Humans.
look it up on YouTube for us? We might get a strike.
The crow is right.
can't
Some
believe Percy's still
some of us are
looking.
full of shit.
Our chat might be broken here. I'm not sure.
Jukebox. God, now that stupid song's in my head. That's like one of those songs I tried to avoid when I was in high school.
While we're waiting, hello Heather. Good to see you. Oh, here we go. We got it. Whoa, that's a lot of words.
Hi, Heather.
Swaby, good to see you.
Swaby.
Heather says, my dad used to take me to the library to check out records, and he would record them on cassettes for me.
Oh, yeah.
The loopholes. That's great. They still, can you still check out records?
See,
from
they have
Oh, yeah.
CDs there, yeah.
They have all kinds of things you can check out.
Jukebox Hero is a song by the British-American rock band Foreigner.
Foreigner. Yeah. I knew it was one
Wow.
of those type of bands.
Written by Lou Gramm and Mick Jones, it was released as a single in 1981 from their fourth studio album, 4. Here's the lyrics to the song. You ready?
Yeah.
Standing in the rain with his head hung low, couldn't get a ticket. It was a sold-out show. Heard the roar of the crowd. He could picture the scene, put his ear to the wall. Then, like a distant scream, he heard one guitar just blew him away, saw stars in his eyes, and the very next day bought a beat-up 6-string in a second-hand store. Didn't know how to play it, but he knew for sure that one guitar felt good in his hands. Didn't take long to understand. Just one guitar slung way down low was a one-way ticket, only one way to go. So he started rocking, ain't never gonna stop, gotta keep on rocking. Someday he's gonna make it to the top and be a jukebox hero. Got stars in his eyes. He's a jukebox hero. Got stars in his eyes. You're right.
Wow.
It was the aspirations of a young wannabe rock star.
Wow.
Hopefully this is the
To be
first
a
and last time
jukebox
you'll hear
hero.
Foreigner mentioned on this show.
I bet no one thought they were going to hear the lyrics to a Foreigner song tonight.
Allow me to continue.
When I got up this morning, I had no idea that was going to happen.
Oh, good. In a town without a name, in a heavy downpour, thought he passed his own shadow by the backstage door. Like a trip through the past to that day in the rain, and that one guitar made his whole life change. Now he needs to keep on rocking. He just can't stop. Got to keep on rocking. The boy has got to stay on top and be a jukebox
This is your life
hero.
story right here.
A lot more to that than I thought,
Yeah,
and I don't really want to hear any more about it.
that's all you get anyways.
That's enough for me.
The only possible thing I can compare that to is the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Basically the same plot.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. And then, Foreigner used to use a lot of Coleridge's shit. They used to read those Samuel Taylor Coleridge poems and then put them into rock songs.
Yeah, basically
Yeah,
transcribe
they
them
got,
for the
They
youth.
got caught doing that several
Right.
times.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they did it with Jukebox Hero, but I believe it. Good Lord.
Rhyme of the ancient mariner, the stars in his
He
eyes.
was down in the hole.
Yeah, it was the OG jukebox hero. That's what we're talking about.
He's going to be at the top of the mast before it's over. He's going to shoot. What's that bird he shot?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of the albatross. They
He
tied
shot an albatross.
They
That's what
tied
he
an
did.
albatross around his neck.
Yeah. Look up Foreigner and see if they did any albatross.
They translated it for the modern age.
Oh, Lord.
So this reminds me that I've been thinking.
I think we're sinking to new lows this time.
No,
I want to go listen to every Foreigner song now if I can hear a guy with an albatross tied around his neck.
so what's the albatross tied around the neck?
The rhyme with the Ancient Mariner, the
Which you're
ship.
supposed to read.
Yeah,
those.
the ship is going. The ship, everything's going great, and there's an albatross following them, and one of the sailors for some reason shoots it and kills it, and then they just hit like dead water, no breeze or nothing, and they're like starving to death. Yeah, they're just like so to punish him, they tie the albatross around his neck, and he's got to wear the albatross.
Why didn't he eat it?
You don't eat your punishment.
You ever try to pluck an albatross?
No.
You'd rather die. You'd rather just go ahead and starve than plucking out. Then they taste terrible.
Oh,
Tastes
we
terrible.
just found out last week how to pluck a duck, right?
No, that's not what I said.
What he said. You were shouting out, "Fuck a duck," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, you misunderstood.
No, we learned you had to put it in cold water, then wax, then cold water. What?
Wax?
Yeah, isn't that what she was telling us?
Yeah, that's
was
how
telling
they
you?
do it. Heather was telling us, a friend of mine that works at Polyface, and they do it all the time.
Wow.
But it's like 4 or 5 times you got to alternate like hot and then cold and
And then the wax will pull, they just come out. Or if you got to pull those feathers out, they're really hard.
Yeah, it is really
Tough,
hard. I remember
yeah.
we did that for that turkey.
But they have
Thanksgiving.
a technique to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wax.
Yeah. I didn't catch it all because I'm never going to pluck a bird
But also
Never
coincidentally,
again. Never again.
ever again.
You've done it before, haven't you?
I've tried, but I don't know how successful I've been. I think I might have thrown it off the where we were out on the back porch. I think I just got
enough.
tired. I've had enough. Let's go to Hardee's.
Ordering pizza again tonight. Another
What?
failed surviving off the land.
Just roughing it out in the
experiment.
wilderness and not making it with me.
Good thing Domino's delivers out here.
God.
it's just so fun we're talking about because I remember I think it was 98 when Foreigner tried to make a comeback. They named their album "Pluck a Duck."
Yeah.
It's amazing how these things
I
tie in
know.
at the end of the night.
Have you ever seen a Foreigner pluck a duck?
People eat duck.
Oh yeah,
That's like a delicacy.
Joe likes duck,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he likes plucking a duck.
It's one of the rare crossovers, but an animal that we eat and also think are cute, and you go to the park and feed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Usually, keep that kind of stuff separate. But it's almost like a pet. Almost
Yeah.
ducks feel like a pet at the park. Oh is my battery dying? I was gonna go into one of those yes or no question riddles because I think you probably remember it because I think you told it to me first, involving an albatross. Do you remember that one?
No,
Where a guy goes into a restaurant, sits down, orders the albatross. They bring him the albatross. He takes one bite of it and kills himself. Why?
Because it was a deck of cards.
I
He
don't
takes one
remember
bite of
You
that.
don't remember that?
He takes one bite of the albatross and he kills himself.
So you want to play?
It might be too hard. I do want to play desperately, but we're at the end of the show, and I don't think I don't.
You're not gonna tell us the answer? Or is that the cliffhanger for next season?
Now I put myself in a bad. Y'all want to try for a second?
Well,
I can't even think of anything.
Yes or no questions.
Oh,
Chat.
we can ask you. I thought we had just. All right.
No, yeah, you ask yes or no questions.
was the albatross a bird?
Mhm.
A real
It
bird?
was a real bird.
A real albatross?
It was a real albatross.
Was it dead and cooked and everything?
Mm-hmm. Cooked to perfection.
And he ordered it because he wanted to eat it?
Mm-hmm.
Was there something wrong with him? Was he going to die anyway?
Nope.
How did he kill himself? How did he kill himself?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Did he have money to pay for the meal, or was he just trying to get out of paying the meal?
No, he had money to pay for it. He took one bite and killed himself.
Because did he realize something when he bit into it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He what?
Did he realize something?
when he bit into it.
Was he an albatross?
No.
He realized. What is the albatross? All I can think of is the Public Image song, "Getting Rid of the Albatross." Gosh, the albatross.
You can do an albatross someday for your. Or these are just birds we see around here.
Yeah, I'm thinking about birds that people will know that they might run into.
Do you know anything about an albatross?
Not a whole lot.
Might be like a snake.
They are a solitary seabird. They're large.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it the albatross? What had the albatross had guided him back from seas or something?
Say again.
Had he been lost at sea and he realized it was the albatross that brought him back to land?
Yes and no. It was a two-part question. Yes.
What was the yes?
He was lost at sea.
So he was lost at sea? and an albatross had saved him.
No.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, I'm stuck too.
Magpie says an albatross can live for decades and coast over the sea for days.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we're at the end of the show, I know this is against the rules, but you can do this at your next campfire or party or cocktail party. Lay this riddle out for people. The ultimate answer is he was stranded, like a shipwreck scenario on an island or something, and at some point he was fed, like people started dying, and but then the reason he lived is because they got an albatross, and he ate the albatross and then was soon rescued. But when he ordered the albatross in the restaurant, as soon as he tasted it, he realized it wasn't albatross that he had eaten on the island. So it must have been his wife, because his wife had passed away.
And we're gonna guess that.
Well, eventually.
Eventually, how
Yeah,
many
but
times
just
we
through
have?
well-placed yes or no questions. You start
I was counting
all of
on
a sudden,
you.
like that one was like when you were lost at sea. It
Right.
was sort of an accident,
Okay.
but now you're like you just got a huge swath of the puzzle opened up by that.
Okay, so somebody told him he was eating albatross, but really it was his wife.
Right, because they knew he wouldn't do it. If they had said that it was your wife, he wouldn't. So that his friends or whatever lied to him just to save his life, to get him
Wow.
to eat. They're like, it's albatross, and so
Should have said it was chicken. Dumbest thing I ever heard of.
there you go. Ding ding. There's your answer.
This doesn't taste like my
We're
wife.
almost out of time. I wanted to talk about how I had some things I wanted to talk about with you too. I'm just gonna have to wait.
Oh my god.
Like-
I'm thinking about becoming a stoic philosopher, or maybe I'm thinking I am one or something. I just discovered this whole stoic philosophy thing. Y'all know anything about it?
No.
Tune in next
But
week.
I think Stoics tend to not talk as much as you do.
No, that's all they did.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Stoicism?
Yeah, it sort of like came from Socrates and stuff, but they were all about
What were they? What was their?
reasoning and talking about things all the time, and often like take these ideas, share them with people, discuss them. You know, it was all about discourse, and
But aren't
it
they
was,
serious?
It was way back in the
It sounds. I think of it as something being serious.
well, because Stoic has sort of come to mean, but it's more like unemotional
Right.
in like crises.
He was very
He's
stoic when
but
they.
it's usually during a crisis. Like they were sort of unfazed by the crisis.
He was very stoic when he realized the albatross he ate was really his wife.
Stoic. I just ordered a book of one of the original Stoic philosophers. I'm just really intrigued by what the writing's going to feel like, and wondering if I could pen some similar style writing.
Catherine's over there making faces like she doesn't agree with the stoic
I did
approach.
not marry a Stoic philosopher. Yes, you did. But I started reading them, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! I think I'm sort of a Stoic philosopher."
So are you going to hang out places where people can sit down and say, Nathan, I have questions
I'll
for
just
you?
be like on the front porch in a
Right.
toga or whatever,
Right.
just trying to strike up conversation.
Like a hot thing of tea out there.
Right, with great little like fortune cookie length
That's right.
witticisms.
Well, you've got about 10 years before they'll kill you too. They usually, back in those days, if you were a pretty good philosopher, they killed you all.
Right,
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
tried out some new poison on you.
Right. Yeah, I get my book tomorrow, so I'll tell you. I'll share some with you.
No, this is
next week.
just one philosopher or just
Yeah, the guy
different people?
the original guy,
What was his name?
Epictetus, which is probably where the epic. I don't know. A lot of word as I'm reading through. I'm like, oh, that's where we got that word. Logos, pathos. These are all like Stoic philosophy terms.
I thought Epictetus was like if you were stacked. Isn't that what they call it? And that girl's got some Epictetus.
That's epic tits.
God.
You got to learn to say stuff right. I come from the south of North America, and we know how to say words. The French have never figured out how to say a word.
He just ordered a book of Epictetus. He's like,
Just to bring it full circle, apparently that's what the titmice are singing about.
I can't wait to.
According to the AI app translation.
I can't wait till my picture book of Epictetus shows
I just
up.
don't know where the mouse comes in. That's
Right.
the thing that gets me about it, the whole thing.
Oh, gosh, I don't
All right, everybody.
know. I
Are
don't
we
have
done?
a single song for this conversation. I got
He's
nothing.
an Epictetus hero with stars in his eyes. He's a stoic philosopher.
Do that ballad you wrote about the albatross.
All right. And lo, the albatross was round my neck, and we had many nights to go.
Wait, that's Foreigner, isn't it?
That's right, that is Foreigner, from that album you were talking
I
about.
got one for you. This is just between an old albatross and me.
That would be
That'd be a
good.
good one.
Leaving song.
Leaving song.
Belt it out, because I think your mic is dead.
Oh, my mic
Oh, you want
died?
mine? Want to switch?
Oh, did I accidentally mute it? Hello, check, check. How about now?
I can switch.
Here, wait, let me cut it on and off.
This will
Have
be
you
added.
been off the whole time?
Have I been
You
off?
didn't?
Hello, check, check, check. That's better.
This will be on our blooper reel.
Yeah, what-
Also.
What awesome things did I say that I should repeat real quick? I hope y'all didn't miss any of that. Could they hear the Jukebox Hero lyrics?
You have to explain why he killed himself after eating the albatross all over again. They
That's
missed all
right.
that.
Well, maybe not. I'll just
God.
let it hang. Any requests?
Oh, let's see.
Sweetie requested Butcher Girl.
Butcher Girl.
Or, hey,
There you go. I haven't heard that in a long time.
All I ever wanted was hand to mouth, to live off the land somewhere in the south, to have a little garden and a child or two, and a little lady saying I love you. Here I am waiting tables, my shift is hardly through. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa,
oh,
yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's Indians in picture books dancing for the rain, pioneers in rowboats off the coast of Spain. They're chasing down a buffalo, falling manly in the plain. They're being held by Mother Earth and calling her by name. Only the 7-Eleven's open, I got pockets full of change.
whoa. And this albatross,
Whoa, whoa,
and this albatross
Yeah,
tastes
yeah.
like Jane.
whoa, whoa. Yeah, whoa, whoa, Jane. Whoa, do you remember back when dinner took all day? When Grandma played the banjo and we'd sit and sway? When night was lit by lamplight and the flicker of flame? Then 10 miles was too far away. Now I got a Slurpee and a hot dog and a long look on my face. Whoa, whoa. Everybody. Yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa. Whoa. I hear the revolution's still being fought, so it's not too late. I hear revolution's just a return to a previous state. Well, then, either by those who only take what they need, or by those who pollute the world with their greed, I shall be delivered, my dream indeed. Whoa, last call, here we go. Yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa. Thanks for watching out there. Yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa. See you next week. Whoa, one more. Yeah, yeah, whoa. Thanks for watching.
Perfect.
Good call, Swavey. Nailed it.
Good job,
Hey,
Swavey.
Percy,
That's
say
right.
goodbye. Here's Percy. Here's our Ed McMahon.
Look at
That was a
Percy.
good show, guys.
It is. It's a good job. Good job. Yeah. Let me turn around and get my valve.
Stretch it out. Stretch it out.
Stretch it out. There you look. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that was a good